Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hytale. Join us as we turn this forgotten temple in the woods into the start of a thriving civilization. We usually start the episode off with a little bit of adventuring and then finish off the episode with some building, but I figure we're going to flip that on the head today because it's likely you guys have probably already done the exploring yourselves. But we totally got to get some upgrades today, too. We're also going to throw in a bunch of different random tasks like this here. Like last episode, I said it's super weird that this thing isn't hollow. This is like the perfect watchtower if they would have just given it a little bit more, and that's what we're going to do today. You know, I really should have started digging from the top, not the bottom. I dug out like the first two layers here, and now I'm wondering how the heck I get up there. About 400 marble and 2 pickaxes later, we've got it all cleared out, and night is upon us, so we should probably get to bed. But this is what it looks like so far, and we've got a lot of headspace. This could even be 2 stories. Well, technically 3 if you count the top. Okay, so if a town exists in this area, it needs like some reason why it does. So we're probably going to create a source of like income or something that the whole town does, meaning these guys need a great big windmill, and that means I'm gonna need 50,000 wheat seeds. But let's not think about that now. Let's just build out this platform here a little bit more, kind of towards the edge of our forgotten temple. And we just pretty much ran out of dirt. And unfortunately, it's just dirt. We can turn it into grass later, but I'm pretty sure a large portion of this is going to end up tilled anyway, so I really don't want to waste my time with my plant fibers if I really don't have to. Also, we should totally be able to turn any crop into plant fiber. That just makes sense to me. We also had about 300 grass in our chests, and that's what it amounted to. Man, is this going to be a gigantic project. I think the only real answer is find a place you don't care about and start digging. And while we're on the digging grind, we might as well grab some sand too, because we need the glass bottles for the alchemist's workbench. And with more dirt to our name, we can expand this platform even more. And I know I don't really want to flatten out the plains fields very much. I would like them to be the rolling fields, but we still got to be able to build somewhere. Now, I want to go ahead and take a look at all of the trees that I currently have access to, at least for growing, because I want to make, like, a scenery that I can see as soon as I walk out of my base, and I don't have any mountains, and I damn sure I'm not going to build one. So which one of these trees makes the best, like, outward landscape? I am really liking the beech trees, but also them redwood trees get pretty dang big. Leave it down in the comments what you guys think should be the right answer. Alright, so far we've got this extended out pretty well, and this is pretty much the place that we're going to start building our little windmill. And the wheat fields are going to be right behind it and kind of all around it. Now, most of my essence of life is spent on cultivating my eternal garden right here. But we still got to level it up every now and then too, so we got a whole bunch of wheat and cotton growing. And honestly, this rice here looks pretty good. Like next to wheat as well. It might work out pretty well throwing some of this rice in with the wheat field. But finally being able to take this upgrade past tier 6 is what we need. Tier 7, here we go. And ooh, this is gonna be a big one. What log do we need for this? Golden wood. I've definitely never seen any of those. And with our eternal garden here, it's actually crazy easy to get essences of life. Like, I've still got 4 or 5 more crops to turn into essences, and that's a full inventory there. And with the new farmer's upgrade, we have a new tree available to us, so let's go ahead and see what this dry wood looks like. Just had to sleep the night away to get the rain to go away as well, and this is what those dry woods actually look like. I like the look of the leaves. It could totally go well with the color of wheat. And if you were curious, we've got about 6 apple trees now. Those will get more eventually soon. And this right here is the whole area cleared out. And man, grass spread really needs to be a thing. Is that a mod? Does anyone know? We went ahead and set up a whole bunch of different beech trees as well, because I think we're going to use softwood for this build. I chop down so many trees so often, I am not sure what to do with the sticks. I literally have an entire column of chests just getting full of sticks. Our glass bottles are smelted and ready, so I'm curious, what exactly can we make with this alchemist's workbench? 1 antidote, which goes away in about 30 seconds anyway. I need some... I wouldn't really want to spend those petals on a potion. Okay. Potions of morphing? Can turn into a dog and a pigeon. Oh, I gotta say, nothing I can use right now. We should also take a quick visit to our quote-unquote emerald farm over here. It really only takes about a minute or two to use the minecart down and back, and I've got this down to... I was gonna say I got this down to a science with one last kill, but he got one on me this time. Making a new canopy of trees is actually kind of hard when there's an old one you have to deal with. So we're gonna be getting rid of pretty much all of the old trees, like these big old oaks that are just standing out in the middle of the fields. And we're definitely gonna be doing something else with them. Alright, well, we've cut down trees for literal hours on my end, and I figure it's probably about time to start laying down some foundation. For this design here, we're going to be going with a little bit of a circle, and just like all circles in Minecraft, you have to mess it up at least twice, and then you'll get it right. Now, I think we kind of got our circular shape, and we need to get a little bit more than just mossy cobble on this thing, and we're definitely going to blend it better too. But mossy cobble is going to be growing up on all of the stone for sure. Actually getting to see this thing in the light so that way I don't go insane. And that's kind of what the circle's looking like. I was thinking maybe we make it a little bit bigger, but I don't know how much room you really need inside of a windmill anyway. Following that up with a circle wood box right on top, and we're going to go up at least one more tier after this to really give it some height. Well, that's what we're working with so far, and so far I think it needs to be a lot bigger. The base for sure. And that center column right there belongs in all windmills because that's what turns the windmill and also meals all of the wheat. So that's kind of be our frame of reference for like a pillar going all the way up through the building. And the next thing I think we need to do to really bring it mostly together is put a little topper on each one of the rings. Now that we have all 3 of the rings kind of built up, you know, I swear, as soon as I want to build on camera, it turns into the rainy season. Well, roof blocks are probably some of the most frustrating blocks to place in this entire game, but we are getting really, really close to having this side done. And since I actually insist on only working in the night or in the rain for some reason, here's what it looks like in the light. And now that we've got the roof on the first layer, I think we need to make the second layer much bigger, which means so is the third layer. Bringing this circle here up at least 2 more, I think is the solution because we put 2 blocks of roof on it. So hopefully this will look a little bit better. And now that we've increased the size on all 3 layers, I think we need to pop a roof on top. And I kind of want to use a bigger roof so that way it sticks out a little bit more. I want the like real roof to be kind of big. The one real problem with this roof here is though, I don't think we can get much of a curve on it. It's just straight square lines, and that might not look very good for what we got going on right now. Well, as usual, we built pretty deep into the night, and moment of truth, what's it look like in the morning? Well, oh no. I hate it. No, that's awful. That looks so bad, I hate it. I'm gonna have to fix this. Okay, I cut off the corners. Does that help at all? No, that still looks stupid. All right, I think I kind of got something going here. We might just be getting rid of the long ones, but at the same time, we got kind of a corner that's working out for us. And this is the corner we were kind of thinking of, and wow, does it look way better than the rest of this dumb square roof. And so we're gonna tear that out. I tell you what though, the worst part about this is roof blocks are frustrating to place. Now come on. You know damn well I was not trying to place that on top of the roof floating. Come on, Hytale. Building at night once again, just to punish myself during the editing process. And now that we got the dumb square look out of the way, I think this is starting to look a lot better. It's kind of rounded, but it still has those straight lines at the front, but it looks a lot more like a top hat for this roof. Something I think might look kind of cool is some vertical slabs on the topmost layer. When it comes to its type of circle, it's a really abrasive or like rough instant circle, and unlike the other one on the foundation. So to level that out just a little bit, I feel like these half slabs kind of help. A certain thing I totally did not utilize when I was building the long house was this hammer. And in all reality, I didn't know how the hell it worked. But my goodness, is this such a useful tool for creating designs on flat surfaces. And with a little bit of a ring around it, it does look just that much better. The interior right now is totally going to be another story, but we're going to focus on that last for sure, because I honestly have no idea what should go in here. All right, well, I think it's probably time to tackle the most important part of a windmill, the actual fan that's going to be milling all of the wheat. Plus, it's going to be moment of truth for how off are our proportions and how many things we got to tweak. Because I have not planned this build out whatsoever. I'm just kind of winging it and seeing how it feels. Okay. Initial reaction. That isn't terrible, but I think it's too big. It doesn't really look like it's flowing in the wind. It looks way too 2D. Well, while I was working at it at night, I kind of thought that maybe it's a little bit too far forward. And so was my jump for yet another death. And this time, my own dang fault. Like they all weren't. All right, we moved it back a couple of blocks, and now we got to get rid of this scaffolding so we can see it for real. And we also clipped its fan just a little bit, so that way it looks maybe more rounded. And hopefully, moment of truth, this will look a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, I think we're working with something here. I could totally use that. Unfortunately, the real moment of proof is the side profile. And I feel like if we're gonna widen this just a little bit, this is just enough space away from the windmill. So it looks good so far. And with some simple adjustments, I think that helps it look a little bit thicker. But I might be relying on these trapdoors a little bit too much on my builds, so we'll have to find a new solution next time. And to make our foundation just a little bit thicker, I feel like some vertical slabs across the ground would look great. Still using softwood on the floor, but we're going to be using the patchwork pattern. So that way it looks like a work area down on the bottom. Oh God. I know these things are crazy easy to kill, but I have to have my weapon in my hotbar to do it. Now, just taking a look at our map for a moment, I want to give you guys a warning to avoid certain tragedies. Don't do your tree farming anywhere near your base. Those gigantic holes all the way around this forgotten temple are once trees, and it's ridiculous that now I have to fill all of those in and find plant fiber for the grass as well. Man, do we need grass spread on this game. And since we kind of decided that redwood was going to be the accent color for this building, we're going to be using redwood for the platforms above. In order to make the entrance seem just a little bit better, I'm going to go ahead and throw up some of these plain old flat roofs. And I'm going to misplace more of them that I mean to place anyway. So I'd like to make a couple of pillars to hold up the roof that we just had for an overhang at the entrance. And I think this might be the coolest way to do it. I'm still undecided if there should be a beam or not be a beam in the center. But I also think just placing a beam is going to make it a little bit easier for me to place these ladders anyway. And as you go ahead and slap the last couple of ladders down, this does look like a pretty good column. I might bring the roof out one more, expand it just a little bit. That looks sturdy. And I think I'm a team no beam. Now I don't want the entire area to be covered in wheat. That might look a little bit lame. So I want to have this also be the farming area for the village that we're going to be making. We're pretty much just laying out a random loose design. I don't necessarily have a shape that it needs to fall into, but I would like it to be able to hold a decent amount of crops. We may have went just a little bit too far with our initial outline, but honestly, I think this is looking decent. It's pretty dang big and it's got more than enough room for all of the corn that we brought with us. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to keep corn in here, but I've got a few different crops to try out to see which one looks best. The next crop to see if it looks any good is going to be pumpkins, and of course everybody loves a perfect pumpkin patch. And one more thing that gets a little bit taller, tomatoes. This might give the color that we were kind of needing for a very, very white wheaty backdrop. And what else is there to do but put down some wheat seeds kind of behind this windmill here to get the field started. It all starts with one seed, but it's finished with about 100,000. And it has been wash, rinse, repeat when it comes to the wheat field over here. That's the death animation. We've been planting what's at least got to be 1,000 seeds into the field over here. And it's barely even made a dent. We only even have a small portion covered. And we have also placed down a couple of these sunflowers too. Hopefully they help to add a little bit of color, but I think I might need to place these in later. And with these here, it's yet another 300 seeds into the ground. And you gotta go ahead and take a look at this. This is how much of a difference it actually makes when you put another 300 wheat seeds in the ground. This green line across the corner. And you know for a fact if you look down upon it on the map, it's just going to look like a brown dot. And fortunately, our farm is finally grown. We've got corn, tomatoes, pumpkins. And I kind of think pumpkins are the ones I'm going to be going with. Boy, farm work sure does take a long, long time. Picking all of the gardens that we have basically took the entire day, and planting them deep into the night. Honestly, I think this is the reason why I'm always gardening at night. Now we do have lots of wheat getting started on the ground here, but I also want to fill in all of the gaps and kind of have a savanna-like canopy with these dry trees. They work so well with the wheat backdrop, and it really helps to fill in the scenery for my background. One thing I'm super excited to have some momentum for over here is this apple orchard. It's looking good, and we've got another 7 to slap down. Essence of Life is so easy for us to get right now. I'm curious where the Quebec village is because I got something to trade. So I've been looking at the design of this temple here, and I realized something. These pillars aren't walkways, and they're definitely not aqueducts. So what the hell are they? They essentially have no purpose. Like, what were they, a big old designer column that used to connect up? It's definitely not something that people used for a watchtower or something, because there would be evidence of that, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it makes sense to connect the 3 watchtowers to the center building when there was nothing on top of the center building to be useful. Not even close to a walkway or an entrance either. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of these and do a little bit something different with them. But that might be a episode 5 or 6 thing. It's not necessarily the most helpful thing at the moment because I'm always out of plant fiber. I literally never have enough, but I gotta fill in these holes anyway. They are killing me. So much of this episode has just been me taking dirt and moving it somewhere else. And you know, one of the most frustrating things about getting a wheat field is clearing out all of the grass, all of the bushes, everything else, even these little tufts. You can't hoe past these tufts. They don't just pop off when you start hoeing. And I would like to give everybody a little heads up. We have had about 1,000 wheat seeds in our inventory, and this isn't still gonna make very much of a dent. I'm not really exaggerating when I say it's probably going to take about 50,000 wheat seeds. All right, well, moment of truth. What does 1,000 wheat seeds actually look like? I mean, a little bit better. Oh, also, we updated our skin just a tiny little bit. What do you guys think? I figured a smile looks a little bit better. We got bigger ears along with our pants being a lighter color, but they're still the blue jeans, and we still got the business elf attire on. Now these ones here are gonna kind of be the hardest to justify. The ones that are in the canopy, it's gonna be visible, so I know I kind of have to do it. But my mama always said if you're gonna half-ass it, why ass it at all? Or something like that. So I have kind of noticed this really cool effect that the wheat does as long as you do it all right in a row. It's growing in the way that I've planted it. So it really does look like there's a ghost me going back behind me with like bone meal or something, just making it all work. That is so cool. Man, I would love to get a time lapse of this or something. Is it gonna come all the way back here? Oh yeah, that's satisfying. All right, we might as well try to take all this in so far because a lot of it feels very incremental and it doesn't feel like a lot until you look at the whole picture. We've got a canopy starting to emerge in the background. We made a big circle all the way at the end of our render distance for the redwood trees. And now we've also got most of the middle taken out for this tower here. And if I can get in it, you can actually come up here and see a beautiful view of our wheat field and emerging dry tree canopy. There's, another instance where you can catch the wheat growing. Man, you love to see it. But it is a pretty decent view so far, and we've got a lot more to go. Once the morning fog starts to roll out, you can actually see the green behind the tree's canopy here. So that's something we're gonna need to fix. And I think our biggest problem is all the freaking brown dirt on the ground. We need to figure out a really easy way to get some plant fiber and quick. But you know, I think this is finally at a good place where I'm happy showing you guys what feels like the final product. We're like 95% of the way there, and it's getting a little bit better with each rendition. We've got green grass, a path leading up to our windmill, of course, and the wheat goes almost as far as the render distance allows. There's still a little bit in the corner there from which we're working on, but that'll be fixed here pretty soon. The canopy of drywood is also doing its work with the beehives and scarecrows all throughout the wheat field. Now let's go ahead and take a look inside. This is the workman's floor. We have essentially every workbench in here. Bear traps, treasure chests made with the lumberjack treasure chests, a big old pile of wheat, and the mill directly in the center, and this is where you would pick up your flour from all the wheat. Now let's go ahead and look at the second floor, because this is where the employees hang out. Not only do they have a little bit of kitchen that they can make themselves one for, they all come up here and just enjoy themselves after a good hard work day. There are planters back here that definitely need to have some plants in them soon, but that's the 5% we're still working on. Over here is where the employees would sleep. They come up to the second floor so that way they can get their Z's, maybe study a little bit and get dressed for the day. And we have outfitted this for at least 5 people, because not only that, we've got the manager or the person who owns the wheat field or farm. This is going to be their own personal bedroom, and it's right at the tippy top of the wheat field. You're able to look through and see just about everything from this angle here, a little chandelier in the center, and it's kind of a little bit darker than I might hope. So maybe, just maybe, we'll throw a couple of lights in when we're talking about that last 5%. Now, I'm not 100% sure how to make the bookshelves with books in them like those ones there, but that's totally what I would slap everywhere upstairs as well. And as we go down here, we'll get a good look at the kitchen portion. And I do think this is looking nice. If there is, anything that you guys could suggest to make these areas look better, I am always all ears. And we are still keeping up with that little pathway that we started over on the other side in front of the longhouse. But I found out that there's a cart in the game as well, and man, am I going to put those everywhere. All in all, though, I am super happy what we've come up with so far, and it's only going to get better from here, because this is the start of our little town.